sun. 'Cause life is so burdensome when every day the rainy one. I believe without a doubt that heaven sent an angel down. Then she turned my life around. You know it. Friends come, friends go. Storms rise and winds blow. One thing I know for sure, it's cold outside. There's no need to worry 'cause I'm so warm inside. You give me peace when the storm's outside. 'Cause we're in love, I know it'll be alright. Alright, it's alright.
KBLA Talk 1580. Yes, indeed, it's storming. But there's no wave, no red wave, at least. None in sight. And by the way, speaking of storming, if you're on the left coast, this lasts through tomorrow. But House of Representatives in Congress still hanging in the balance. We don't know for sure who will control either. It seems likely, rolling the dice, doing the math, that Republicans may have a 1 or 2 vote advantage in the House. That is not a wave. They may possibly squeak out control of the Senate, although it appears at the moment that the Democrats will be able to hold on. That's what Joe Biden thinks. It doesn't just sound like hyperbole. And finally, the candidates that have the Trump stamp of approval seem to be a problem, right? He's been, for the most part, he's been doing well. Seems to be a problem this time. I don't know if people are getting sick of it or they just want solutions, right? So when you talk about these bread and butter issues like, you know, how much do groceries cost and how much does gas cost? Maybe people don't want to hear, you know, all this rhetoric about CRT and other things. They want, who knows? I do believe that Roe versus Wade has something to do with it. Women registered to vote, and they might not have been talking a lot about it, but if they registered, that meant they intended to vote, and we did exactly that. And talking to LaFonza Butler, who is the leader of Emily's List, which is an organization that raises money for women in politics. And she was saying about how there were surges in voter registration among women following that Supreme Court decision. So many of those women may have quietly gone to the polls. I do think that people, it appears people are beginning to tire of the endless hype of the Trump machine. We have to see. I mean, it was definitely a good election for the Biden administration. You are expected to lose a lot when you get to the midterm elections. That's considered normal. And even though, you know, former President Trump made his big announcement that he's going to make a big announcement. So I'm announcing that I'm going to announce something in 1 week and doing it on the day of the election in order to cast his giant orange shadow over the red wave that wasn't. But, you know, he's still a powerful guy. He's still the 800-pound gorilla in the Republican Party, and he more than likely will be the nominee. And that's probably what he's going to announce next Tuesday. But this Tuesday was not a good day for the 45th president because he, you know, put his stamp on a lot of those candidates who actually lost. I don't know, you know, some of the pundits are saying that Herschel Walker not defeating the incumbent Raphael Warnock is a loss for Trump. That I don't agree with because to me, if you have such a terrible candidate going against such a good candidate who's also the incumbent, there should be no contest. So the fact that there's even competition in that race, that it's so deadlocked that it probably will go to a runoff, is actually a testament to to Trump's power and the conservatism still of Georgia. But the losses piled up. The losses piled up. And it's true that J.D. Vance, the far right-wing scary guy in Ohio, did win, and he won by a lot. But that was a bright spot in a night full of dim spots for President Trump. We don't know what's going to happen in Arizona. They're still counting votes, but Carrie Lake is losing right now. Wouldn't that be great? She was so obnoxious. But she's definitely a Trump disciple because she is already saying it's not fair, that Democrats cheated. They had some problems at a couple of polling places in Arizona. Some of the machines were having some mechanical problems. And, of course, Trump and Carrie Lake try to use that to say that there's voter fraud, even though there were minor issues that were fixed immediately and the votes were counted. But, and she could still win that, I know, but it's highly unlikely at this point. And the fact that she's in such a struggle, that's not a good look for the 45th president. So this is better than, I'm sure, much better than Biden imagined. Press reports were showing the Democrats bracing themselves for some horrifying losses, and those just simply did not occur. So we're still waiting to see. There are 4 seats still up for grabs in the Senate, and the count in the House is not clear which way it's going to go. So, and it's weird too, because we heard so much talk about how Joe Biden has this horrible approval rating, and no one wanted to be seen with him. But it looks like he actually helped people for whatever reason. I don't know how that works. We don't approve of you, but we're going to vote for the candidates affiliated with you. Whatever it is, the American people once again outsmarted the pollsters. And I'm wondering if polling is even still a viable profession at this point. I mean, I feel like right now, a lot of the times they just simply get it wrong. I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on the election, or maybe the next thing, or something that we didn't get to because of the obsession, I'll admit, that I have when it comes to elections and making sure we get as much information out as possible. It's 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Roll out.
The all-new Gardena Nissan is proud to be a partner of KBLA, and right now during their fall sales event, 0 down delivers any new or pre-owned car at Gardena Nissan. They're located conveniently on Redondo Beach Boulevard at Western, and they specialize in helping folks out who have no credit, bad credit, bankruptcies, or repos. The folks at Gardena Nissan will take fantastic care of spectacular price. Visit them today or shop online at GardenaNissan.com. The all-new Gardena Nissan is proud to be a partner of KBLA, and right now during their fall sales event, 0 down delivers any new or pre-owned car at Gardena Nissan. For the best deals, log on to GardenaNissan.com. 0 down on approved credit. GardenaNissan.com.
Roll out.
The City of Los Angeles Department of Cannabis Regulation invites you to participate in a virtual town hall meeting called Cannabis in Your Community, partnering on progressive enforcement. They want to engage and receive input for you on a very important topic, illegal cannabis activity in your community. Community involvement is a key component to identifying problems and discovering new ideas to fix them. These virtual events will include a presentation on how DCR, the Los Angeles Police Department, and other city departments work together to tackle enforcement against illegal cannabis businesses. Each meeting will focus on a different region of the city. For more information on times, dates, and regions, please visit cannabis.lacity.org.
Going out big, staying in snug? Whatever you're up to this holiday season, Ulta Beauty has everything you need to add a little bit of shimmer and a whole lot of shine. Because our kind of holiday. Shop fan-favorite brands like Fenty, Dyson, and Drunk Elephant, plus so much more. Now's the time to glow away. Go ahead and visit your local Ulta Beauty or buy online and pick up in store. Ulta Beauty, the possibilities are beautiful.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One and a member FDIC.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And it continues with you as well. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. Look, I gotta celebrate the victory of John Fetterman. I just thought that Dr. Oz was so disgusting, the way he ran his race and his rhetoric, the way he attacked Fetterman, and that was a good win, a good hold for Democrats in the Senate. So I got to give out some congratulations, you could say, in that race, and I'm happy to see these election deniers taking defeats. Many of these Secretary of State candidates that were meant to seal the 2024 elections did not do as well as expected, and that's a good thing. Let's go to Shayon calling us from Long Beach. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to say really quick about those Republican races, like the Senate race. What was that, Ohio? Places like that, even in Georgia with Warnock, Herschel Walker. See, and you talk about the abortion issue, which is supposed to be one of the main drivers of, quote, women to the polls. But as you see, you can pretty much bet the house that European Democratic women went and voted Democrat. But those Republican conservative women, even though abortion was on the ballot, right, and even though Roe versus Wade was struck down, had those Republican European women went and voted for the Democrat in Ohio and Warnock and Georgia, the race wouldn't even be close. Wouldn't even be close. So that just tells you about their mentality when they get inside of the voting booth.
Well,
That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, so Shayon, are you saying that because in Georgia, and I was wondering about this last night, in Georgia, you have two black candidates pitted against each other. Republicans actually fielded three black senatorial candidates this time. And so you're saying you don't think it was black people that went out and voted for Herschel Walker?
No. Is that European conservative women, even though Roe versus Wade was struck down, and they, you know, hey, I don't know their personal thing, I'm just saying in general, right? It's issue. It's supposed to be a big woman's issue. And you can tell that they went and voted for the same people that supported the striking down of Roe versus Wade. Because there's no way that if they would have went and voted Democrat and flipped over to the other side, those races like the senator in Ohio, that guy would have lost. J.D. Vance would have lost. In Georgia, had they flipped over and voted for Raphael Warnock, that race would have been over. Even in their state legislatures, where they passed, where they at the individual state level. If those women would have went in the voting booth and voted for the Democrats that was supporting, trying to get an amendment passed.
I mean, I see the logic in what you're saying. I'm just, we don't know because it's hard to know. I mean, I guess we do know to an extent because otherwise it would have been a landslide if every woman would have flipped. Right? But we don't know that didn't flip some women and turn those races, a little bit tighter. I guess we won't know that unless we're able to see data. But I can see your point in a macro level. If all the women would have rushed over to the Democratic Party, yeah, you're right. We would have seen very different results.
So this is what I'm saying. So when they come out, when they come out and they be, belly aching and all that, it's like, just stop it. Because when you win the voting booth, you had a chance to put somebody in that will restore all of these rights that you claim you lost under women. You went with the status quo. Now, for whatever reason they did it, I don't know. I just know they did because the proof of being the pudding if you flipped over, even for that. So basically, apparently, in my opinion, they hate Democrats more than they hate striking down a Roe versus Wade.
Well, that may be. I mean, that may be. But in the book The Trouble with White Women, written by a white woman, Kyla Schuler, she really makes the case about how what we call the Trump woman voter, the Trump so-called feminist, is that they've been around for a long time. They've been around since the suffragettes. They've been around since the early origins of the reproductive rights movement and Planned Parenthood and such, where you had women, white women, who chose their privilege over their gender, and we saw that happen with the Trump election. I mean, the man was talking about grabbing women by their private parts. He is clearly a sexual predator. And so if you consider yourself a feminist or pro-woman, why would you vote for this man? But yet many, many white women did. More than half white women did. And that's what the case that Kyla Schuler makes, is that this goes way back. This goes back to the plantations, right? Again, women choosing their privilege over their gender. And in the LA mayor's race, to me, it played out as women choosing their privilege over the greater good, not just over their gender, but over the greater good, over experience, over a unity and healing for our city. And so that impulse to choose, I guess not bite the hand that feeds you, maybe. It's not new.
Well, getting back to Trump, now you remember the first time he won, he got over 50% of European women's vote, and then the second time he ran, it went even high. I think to maybe 54, 55%.
I remember 53% the first time. I don't remember the numbers for the second time, but I think you're hovering around and that's why it doesn't make any sense unless you break it down in terms of privilege and power, right? I'm going to hold on to, if I have to be abused myself and grabbed by the private parts, I'm going to still make that play and disrespect myself to hold on to privilege. And that's how I saw these women, endorsing Caruso, honestly, in the mayor's race, not just because Karen Bass will be the first woman elected mayor of LA, or not just because she would be the first African-American woman, but because her policy agenda is more favorable to women, period, full stop.
Well, that's so it goes. The elephant in the room is people I probably don't like to discuss is that, hey, Europeans in power.
Yeah, but again, I hope, I believe, and, Kyla Schuler made me doubt this, but I believe we are seeing more consciousness among every sector of people, and I hope that is what is pushing us, helping to push us over the top in the LA mayor's race, because I saw plenty of white women at campaign rallies, volunteering for Congresswoman Bass, and the like. So maybe here in Southern California we can break that pattern.
Well, that's hey, I'm just saying what I observed, you know. And so in 2024, we'll see if Donald Trump runs. We'll see if European women vote at 56%.
Well, when we vote, we win. I mean, when we vote in numbers, the numbers that we're capable of, we win. I think your points are great, but they will not discourage me from doing what I got to do to get the results that I want to get.
Well, that wasn't the purpose of the phone call.
Oh, I know, but I got to say that. I just got to say that. We got to stay encouraged. Sharon, I appreciate the call now. I'll always appreciate hearing your analysis of the various things. Going to Charles from L.A. Hotep Jumbo Ola, what's up?
Hey, doing all right. So the message of the day is don't let the poll pull you away from the voting booth. That's right. Now, just to capitalize on what the man said, there's about abortion. There's a big concern about, especially Southern white Republicans, about the demographics. They want their women having more children. They're real concerned.
Right. If they could make a law that would outlaw abortion for white women and encourage it for black women, they would surely do so. But I don't think, you can't ban affirmative action and then pass that law. Please only terminate black pregnancies.
Well, that's the motivation. Matter of fact, if you read up on the reason why Nixon and Reagan supported abortion, because they knew that would stop black population growth, and they were right. Well,
here's the thing, though. The issue for me, and we've talked about this before, Charles, so I already know where you stand. The issue for me is an issue of choice. You don't get to make decisions about my body, my contraception, my termination of my pregnancy. Me and my doctor decide that, not me and my doctor and a lawmaker. And so, regardless of how you feel, I believe that even people who are against abortion for religious reasons or personal reasons or even political reasons should stand down and still support a woman's right to have agency over her own body.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's how the argument should be made. That's why so many women were upset, because the choice was taken away.
Right.
And that was wrong. And then another thing, for us men, we make a choice too about who we sleep with, about whether or not to wear a helmet. So that's where we have to make our decision. But when it comes down to the life of the child, that's really up to the woman.
Yeah. Well, unless you're Herschel Walker, and then you just write multiple checks and encourage. If that big dude is encouraging you strongly, I bet even you, Charles, would go get an abortion.
Well, in Herschel's case, it's just a matter of him. They just want him to just H marks the spot. They just want him to go ahead and whatever the Republicans want to do, they just want him there to do it. And what I want to say too about the local race with Karen, how Caruso used that, the L.A. Times. Right, he made it seem like the L.A. Times endorsed what he was saying. But if you read the articles, they really didn't.
Right.
They said that Karen Bass's homeless program was better. It was more reasonable.
Yes, absolutely they did.
They did. And how Karen Bass, I wish she would have called them out, really mentioned that in her ads or in her speeches, and let people know, first of all, the Times endorsed her, so did La Opinion, and then explain, bring some points from the articles about why they supported her. I think that would have helped out a lot.
Yeah, well, she had so many untruths to counter. It's like, where do you even start? I mean, but yeah, good points. I think we could be in good shape. We got to see. We still got more votes to count. But I will be so proud of LA if we saw through $100 million worth of canvassers and spots, propaganda, and talking points. But Yeah, Charles, I thank you for your call and your observations.
Oh, just one other point I want to make. Actually, 2 points real quick.
Oh, you got your Lieutenant Columbo on today. Just one more thing. Okay, Charles, real quick.
I'm going to be real quick. Because of all her connections, from the vice president on down to the local politicians and knowing L.A. like she does, she'd be the perfect person to be mayor of this city. And then on a national level, I want to congratulate Wes Moore, first black governor of Maryland. And then Mandela Barnes, he's like with about a 1% behind Johnson in Wisconsin, so we got to keep an eye on that. That could go his way. It's very, very close. It
could. That would be amazing. He's a great candidate, and he would be a great addition to the Senate. At Wes Moore, you're right. That is a huge deal. The number of black governors, I think it's 3 since the Reconstruction, or maybe even less than that. So this is a huge deal. And I think the victory of the New York governor, Kathy Hochul, is also a big deal because Republicans were claiming that win before the votes were counted, and that would have been a horrible symbolic defeat for Democrats, but she pulled it out and beat Mr. Zeldin for the governorship of New York. Charles, thanks for your call. It's time for news, traffic, and sports right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning. I'm Mike Moore, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Maryland has elected its first black governor. Here's Trey Thomas.
Wes Moore on Tuesday became only the third black elected governor in U.S. history. The best-selling author and former head of the anti-poverty organization Robin Hood declared victory in Baltimore Tuesday night. He defeated Republican candidate Dan Cox, who was behind in the polls throughout the campaign. Moore will take over for Republican Governor Larry Hogan. I'm Trey Thomas.
Also in Tennessee, slavery will likely be removed from Tennessee's Constitution. Most votes have been counted, and Tennesseans seem to have voted overwhelmingly in favor of Constitutional Amendment 3. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information News.com.
In Downey had a crash blocked in lanes 5 and open at Florence Avenue. Those vehicles got moved to the shoulder, but still pretty tough from Carmenita Road. In Hawthorne on the 405 northbound and Del Segundo Boulevard, crash in the fast lane causing delays on Main Street. And watch for a problem in Ontario on the 60 west one where Euclid Avenue. Crash there moved to the center divider, but it's stop and go from Milliken Avenue. 60 slows down again from Euclid Avenue into Chino. Got a crash at Central Avenue block on the right-hand lane. And watch for crash in Anaheim, left lane block 5 southbound after Lincoln Avenue.
Do you need new blinds or shades? Blindster.com offers custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters shipped directly to you at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are easy to install and guaranteed to fit. Don't overpay for new blinds. Shop today and save big. Blindster.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
If the Rams decide not to re-sign Odell Beckham Jr., he won't have any trouble moving on to another team. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones said he's very interested in signing one of the NFL's premier wide receivers. The New York Giants have also inquired about Beckham. Because Beckham is a free agent, teams can talk to him. Beckham is still in L.A. rehabbing from a torn ACL that he suffered in the Super Bowl. A schedule change for the Chargers. The NFL moved their game against the Chiefs on November 20th from Sunday afternoon to the league's Sunday night showcase on NBC. The Lakers Arena. The Clippers are the home team. The Lakers are trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we're slam dunk. Call 833-MVP-WINS or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
When you're the victim of a car accident, hiring the right law firm can be the difference between a rewarding settlement and striking out. Call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys at 833-MVP-WINS for your free consultation.
Call me your MVP.
Did you know fixing outdoor leaks can save 27 to 90 gallons of water per day? Even tiny leaks can be huge water wasters. Conserving water starts with a few simple water-saving actions at home and in your yard, like adjusting your sprinklers and adding drip irrigation so you water only where it's needed. We can all do our part to conserve water. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more water-saving tips. Save water, save California.
The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance. Over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like BizCamp, Construction Career Academy, Spa Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial mission to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talent, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Institute for Diversity Certification is all about the 3 Ds: dedication, determination, and discipline. Learn more about our globally recognized diversity certification program today by calling 1-800-983-6192. Again, 1-800-983-6192. Or visit diversitycertification.org. As the #1 organization for certified diversity professionals and also certified diversity executive credentials, diversitycertification.org will provide an opportunity to the field, determination to make progress, and more discipline to your process. Go today and learn more about the diversity certification system. Call 1-800-983-6192. Again, 1-800-983-6192. Or go to diversitycertification.org. That's diversitycertification.org. The standard of excellence, equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Less BS per broadcast, fewer microaggressions per megawatt. KBLA Talk 1580.
And we're inviting you to share your takeaways from the midterms 2022 as we're still counting votes, and in some cases we'll be counting for quite some time. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. The number to call if you want to weigh in, check in, or, share out your takeaways from the wave that wasn't. It's, actually considering what we expect in midterm elections, where the party in the White House typically loses a lot. This could be considered a victory for Democrats, as neither the House nor the Senate has yet been decided. And as we've seen, folks hold on in some cases and make some inroads. As Charles pointed out, Wes Moore, now governor of Maryland, that's a huge, huge deal. And one of the reasons why it's such a big deal, African Americans, as we were discussing earlier, often do not even get a shot to be the party nominee for statewide office. And when we do, many times we don't win, which is why so many times there have been so few black governors and black senators. And those are the platforms that people jump to the presidency from, typically governor or senator. So I think it's one of the reasons why we have been oftentimes shut out. I was sad to see Stacey Abrams losing in Georgia, but sad but not entirely surprised, not because the polling showed it, but because Democrats, they had the element of surprise last time when Stacey Abrams probably should have won. But this time they did not have the element of surprise. And not only did Republicans see them coming, those voter suppression rules and regulations that they put in place following 2020 to try to be able to cheat future defeats from happening, they worked. Again, we were talking with Latasha Brown of Black Voters Matter, and she was describing so many of the measures that had been put in place since the last time Stacey Abrams won, which would have made it so much more difficult, and in fact netted a 1 million ballot loss in the number of mail-in ballot returns because of these new rules. There's only one drop box per county. There's all these rules about when you can mail them, and it's just so restrictive, the voting there, that it was a whole new playing field this time for Stacey Abrams taking on Kemp, and she just couldn't make that heavy lift. That's another reason why it's amazing that Raphael Warnock is still a contender here, because, you know, the governor's race can sweep up those down ballot races, and especially when you have, you know, such a wide margin of victory as Kemp had over Abrams. Let's go to Fahima calling us from Washington, D.C. Hi, Fahima.
Habaragani and ¿qué pasa?
Well, ¿qué pasa? No hay onda rojo. There's no red wave.
Greetings, Dominique. I just wanted to raise a couple of points, but to Cheyenne's point, who was on earlier, Kansas City was one of those states that the Republicans thought that they were going to, because of low turnout, and this is the early primary, people came out because of Roe versus Wade being overturned, and that was the early primary in Kansas. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hear you fine.
And I'm sorry. In Kansas, actually, to much the Republicans' surprise, people came out to in support of a woman's right to choose, and that was the early primary. Now, the other reason why I was calling, there's a gentleman in Florida who made history, Maxwell Alejandro Frost.
I should have known you would call about Mr. Frost.
Yes, and he was the first Afro-Cuban and, well, first generation Z to be elected to Congress. And I think he was actually got involved in politics when they had the school shooting, and that kind of motivated him to get into politics. But a concern that I have, and I think you may know where I'm going. I know that I hope they allow him to become a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, because when Adriana Espaillat, who in Harlem, and, you know, after Charles Rangel retired, he attempted to join the Congressional Black Caucus, and actually it was Cedric Richmond who was heading at the time, and he said no. And the thing is, it's the Congressional Black Caucus, it's not the African American caucus.
So does that mean, so Fahima, does that mean that they ought to allow these the Republican senators to join as well?
Well, actually, Tim Scott and Mia Love were elected at the same time as Adrienne Espaillat. Tim Scott made perfectly clear he did not care to join. Mia Love said she was going to join to destroy it from the inside out. And, of course, that didn't happen because her husband, who is Caucasian, he was part of the spouses caucus. Because, you know, when you're married and then you're in the CBC, you know, they have a spouses affinity group. And the thing is I'm just hoping that they don't tell the new congressperson that he can't join, because it's, I mean. Yeah, I mean,
I understand the point you're talking about. You're saying an Afro-Latino is black. I mean, and we've been through this, you know, in my own household when I was married to an Afro-Cuban. I remember his daughter was denied membership in the MECHA at Santa Monica College, which it made my head explode. Because they say, well, you're black. Okay, but she speaks Spanish. She's Cuban. Can she be in the MECHA? Well, he's black. He's, you know, Maxwell Frost is just 25 years old. He's going to be the youngest member of Congress. He's going to be the first, you know, Afro-Cuban from Florida, which is really interesting because we usually think of Florida Cubans as being very conservative, but this kid is progressive.
Yes, indeed. And just going back to the other point, I think the problem is people don't understand the distinction between race, ethnicity, and even nationality. Because when I worked for, when I interned for Charles Rangel, there was a woman who I believe she might have been Dominican, and she was a CBC intern just like I was.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's one of my pet peeves. I think you know that, Fahima. We've got to get more sophisticated. We got to know the difference between race, ethnicity, nationality and culture. They're not the same, but they all make up who we are. As the late and great Dr. Richard King used to say, who are you? Where do you come from, and where do you wish to go? And most of us can't answer those basic questions, which means we don't know the answer to Richard King's first question, who are you? And I think it's worth asking yourself, who am I? You know, race, ethnicity, culture, and nationality.
Well, you know, part of the problem today is that people are on YouTube watching videos and thinking that they're doing research. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, if you're watching a Malcolm X video on YouTube, isn't that research?
Well, you know what? What people also do is they take things out of context.
Yeah, that's
briefly, someone actually, the metaphor that James Baldwin made about watching the Cowboys and Indians in the Western. He said, and we were rooting for the Cowboys and we were the Indians. And everybody in their right mind knows what that metaphor means. But there are people that try to twist it to say James Baldwin was saying we were the indigenous Native Americans.
Yeah, well, and that line of thinking, well, it just seems to be getting stronger and stronger. That said, Fahima, I think that it would be hard for the CBC or really anyone, any African American group other than the Young Republicans, to deny this young Maxwell Frost membership, because he, to me, personifies this young crop of progressive, energized candidates who are, making inroads, who are changing the guard in the spirit of the squad.
Ilhan Omar is not African American; she's a Somali American, and it's the Congressional
She's
Black
a refugee,
Caucus. Yes, it's not the African American caucus, and all black people are not African American.
Got it.
With that said, I'm gonna jump off.
All right, Fahima, appreciate the call. We are still taking your phone calls. It is not too late to call me. In fact, you can call me all day, and Dr. Gerald Horn will be, up until I pass the mic to Tavis at 9 a.m., But Dr. Gerald Horn will be joining us next hour right now, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Wakanda Forever. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by LA Care Health Plan. This is the week we have all awaited. The highly anticipated sequel to Black Panther is set to release this week in theaters, Wakanda Forever, starring Tina Huerta, Michael B. Jordan, Leticia Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, to name a few. Now, Black Panther made about $202 million in 2018 on opening weekend. Do you think that this to let us know at KBLA 1580. And thanks to our new sponsors, LA Care Health Plan, the largest publicly operated health plan in the country, is pleased to announce that its LA Care covered product has the most affordable rates across all metal levels in Los Angeles County. And thanks to an extension of federal subsidies, some members will have premiums as low as $0 a month. Log on to lacare.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here for JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour, where KBLA's very own Lynn Richardson was a keynote speaker. Here's what Lynn had to say when asked what the top 3 tips were for someone beginning their journey to financial freedom.
The first one would definitely absolutely be to write what it is that you want. The things that I wrote when I was broke, down, under the ground, didn't know how I was going to make it, are happening today. And they're actually bigger than I ever thought. The dreams that I had, it didn't seem possible, but I had the wherewithal to write it. Thoughts disentangle themselves when they pass through your fingertips. So when you see what it is that you want, it becomes more real. The second thing is to speak what you seek until you see what you say. Get rid of haters, naysayers, blockers, and crab barrel leg pullers. Don't get mad at them. Your crew. And the third thing is to get started at JP Morgan Chase and get all of those accounts that you need to save and to pay your bills.
This Sunday and every Sunday is the African Marketplace and Drum Circle Community Market. Get free groceries, essential resources, and buy black from local merchants of arts, beauty, custom black merchandise, and more. Choose from a wide variety of cuisines, custom-made clothing, jewelry, and a lot more. Experience the true essence of Africatown at Lamert Park every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Join the Drum Circle, dance, enjoy live performances, connect with other conscious black people. Experience black excellence every Sunday in Africatown at Lamert Park. You can find us on Degnan Boulevard near Vernon and Crenshaw in the heart of Africatown at Lamert Park. That's the African Marketplace and Drum Circle Community Market. Join us for music, shopping, food, and fun this and every Sunday. Support black businesses, recycle black dollars, and feed your soul. The African Marketplace and Drum Circle Community Market every Sunday in Africatown at Lamert Park. Brought to you by Africatown Enterprise and the African Village Vendors Association.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station. To Dominique DiPrima right now.
Taking a look at the midterms, what happened in America last night. Of course, we won't know all of it for a while, but it seems like, considering the expectations that we have for the party in the White House during a midterm year, Democrats should be actually breathing a sigh of relief, as it's not clear yet who will control either chamber of Congress. Let's go to Ron calling us from Richmond.
Good morning, Dominique. How you doing?
I'm blessed. How are you?
Yep, I'm blessed too. Now that I pretty much got my diabetes under control again. I was in pretty bad shape last year around this time. But I went from a count 14 down to a 7. I said, "Thank you, Jesus." I was ready to jump for joy, danced like I was in the club, and the whole 9 yards. When I heard that, because your boy was sick, I'm gonna keep it 100. So, fellas, watch what you eat. All you folks, watch what you eat. Get your vegetables, get your water on. Take care of yourself, because diabetes is nothing to play with.
So, what did you change? I mean, how did you change your life?
Well, I pretty much walk every day, and when I get a chance, I ride my bike, so I do that on the daily, you know what I mean, just to keep it moving. Trying my best to still change my eating habits. I fall by the wayside every now and then, keep it real. But, just trying to eat more, like you said, eat more fruits and vegetables and drink more water. Most definitely, staying away from these sodas and all these orange juices and danishes and donuts and candy bars and all that stuff that I had no business messing with. Yeah, and then after 18 years of working at IHOP too, getting all them pancakes and omelets and
goodness, wow, yeah, Carb City.
Yeah. Whoo-wee, you already know. Yeah, that was a death trap up there working at that place. Brother had to get paid though, but whoo-wee. Your boy was getting the apple pie with the ice cream.
Oh, yum. You're making me want to go there. But look, here's the thing. I was just talking to another friend about this one, especially now a lot of people are feeling depressed, overwhelmed, anxious, or stressed out, whether it's pandemic or money management. We have to do the things that make us feel better, even if we don't have diabetes, which is drinking water, eating more vegetables, eating more protein, and eating fewer simple carbohydrates, white flour, white bread. You know, don't call me a black supremacist, but you need to eat black and brown when it comes to your grains, if you're going to eat grains at all. And I'm talking to myself, too, because I love chips and crackers and bread.
Yeah, same here. I feel you, Dominique. Man, I feel you on that. Yeah, and I'm also praying that Herschel Walker and Trump don't get reelected. I really hope that does not come into what's that word you do, come into fruition? Have you said? I'm saying it wrong, but yeah.
Oh, fruition, yeah. Well, I mean, it could happen. It really could. And I do believe from Plan C means to announce his candidacy on next Tuesday. And I had thought, well, maybe he's running to keep himself out of jail. But the Justice Department will not shut down, I found out. They won't shut down those investigations simply because he's running. he would have to be elected, or another Republican would have to be elected to shut out the Attorney General and shut down those investigations, and that won't happen until at least 2024.
Wow, I heard that. That's what's up. Okay, I wanted to send my congratulations out. I heard a brother, he won the governor. Is that in Maryland, if I'm correct?
Oh yeah, in Maryland, right. We got the third African American governor in U.S. history. Wes Moore is his name, and a popular figure in the Democratic Party, now rising to the head of that state, and that's a powerful position.
That's what's up. Much congratulations out to him. All right. Just wanted to say what's happened. It's been a minute since I called you my good radio friend. I'm so proud of you. You already know you will always have my support. I'll follow you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all that good stuff, man. All my Bay Area folks, if y'all listening, y'all support the homie Dominique DiPrima. You know what I mean? Follow her on the good social media platforms. Support Mrs. Home Turf. She's doing it real big.
Thank you, Ron. I'm glad to hear you're well. We had heard rumors that you were not well, so I'm very glad to hear that you're doing better and taking great care of yourself.
I'm trying to. Keep praying for your boy. I'm just taking it one day at a time. Also, rest in peace to my big bro and my sister-in-law. I miss y'all so much. Much love, Dominique. You take care. Be safe. Keep putting it down. Shout out to the boy Miles. Keep putting it down, player.
Yeah, he will, and we do. It is KBLA Talk 1580, and you're invited in, 800-920-1580. Dr. Joe Horn, of course, in the final hour of the show today. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and this is KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where we turn red lights to green lights and keep it moving.
Anthony was working a dead-end job.
I was surviving, but I wasn't getting ahead anymore.
A friend told him about My Computer Career.
She's like, I'm already in the program. She's like, you'd be crazy if you don't do it. So I jumped right in and have not regretted it.
Anthony did it all online.
All you gotta do is have an internet connection, and you can do it.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
You need to check. For me, it'll definitely work for you too.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
It's pro time because at Lowe's, it's Provember. Save big with inventory you can count on, like Flex products or DeWalt power tools starting at just $99. Plus, Lowe's MVPs members earn up to 3 times bonus points per dollar on select items. Save all Provember long. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. MVPs Pro Rewards Program. Terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms. Subject to change. Prices valid from 10/17/22 to 2/3/23 or until supplies last.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
And, of course, we're celebrating the fact that there was no red wave, and we are still counting a lot of votes from coast to coast. So many of these races, the winners won't become clear for days, even weeks. That doesn't mean that there's any tomfoolery going on. It doesn't mean there's cheating. It just means sometimes if you have more of a thing, it takes a longer time to count it. I don't know why this is suddenly mysterious and suddenly a talking point meant to undermine these elections. And although they did not all win, and some of them we don't even know the answer yet, it's true that a record number of black men and black women ran for governor and U.S. Senate in this election. Now, that in itself is a victory because these are not just random people running. These are the official nominees of their parties. Both parties, yes. 13 Democrats and 3 Republicans are major party nominees. And that is a big, big deal. It represents progress. I mean, to see a black woman, nominated for Senate in Florida is a big deal. She didn't win. Val Demings didn't win. But the fact that she's a contender in that crazy right-wing bastion, these are signs of progress. And we will see some wins. We've already seen some wins. But that alone is an important thing to note. Even as you go, Stacey Abrams lost and, Sherry Beasley didn't quite make it. They were the nominees. They were contenders. They ran competitive races. And that is the platform that leads to the White House. That is especially important in these times where we have situations of so-called states' rights where things like a woman's right to choose are often going to be under the control of state government. We've got news, we've got traffic, we've got sports, and then we're talking with Dr. Gerald Horn. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning, I'm Mike Moore, and here's the latest.